Hey guys, Sixth here with part 4 of my tutorial series. So what we did last time was we set up a little spawn here, and we also set up our briefing. And this time around what we're going to do is create our first task, and if we have time, our second task. So for our first task, what we're going to do is we're going to go over to this farm over here, and we're going to spawn an op4, and we'll just use CSAT for now, and a rifleman, and make sure his description's blank. We'll leave his special on none, non-playable, all that's fine. We'll leave his skill at half and his health at full too. We'll make the player name though enemy 1, which is fine. We'll just stick him right over here. Okay, so we're going to go back to our player, and I didn't talk about this earlier, but we'll talk about it now. So F2 is groups, and right now this rifleman and this combat lifesaver are assigned to this team leader as their group leader. And if you click, and you can see that this light blue line is pointing to him, that indicates that this is the group leader and these are all one group. So if you just click on him and then drag it off, you unselect him from the group, and then you can reapply groups like so, and it will always go to the group leader with the highest ranking. But for now, for our testing purposes, we're just going to leave these two back here in their own little group. We're going to double click on our player, and in our initialization, for testing purposes once again, we're going to put this allow damage false. So this is just going to make it so our player 1 is invincible. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to hit F3 or click over here, and we're going to implement a trigger. So for our trigger name, we're going to put task 1, and for text, which will be displayed if you hover over the trigger, it will be our first task. We'll leave the type at none. We'll leave the activation on blue 4, and present is fine. We're going to go ahead and set the axis A and B to 0 though, which basically means it's going to be an infinite radius, no specific radius. And for the condition, we're going to type not alive, and we named our enemy 1. And on the activation, we're going to say hint he's dead. So essentially what we've done here is we've put a little just simple code in on the condition of this trigger, which is saying if enemy 1 is not alive, so that'll be the condition. So if he's not alive, then the activation will be hint he's dead. So in the top right it'll say he's dead, and we'll know that our trigger works. So we'll leave our trigger right here, and we're going to go ahead and just move our player over to the farm to make sure that our trigger's working. So let's test that out. Of course I'm invincible now, but I killed him, and as you can see in the top right, it says he's dead. So our trigger works, that's great. Now we can implement the actual task, because when we push J right now, there's no tasks. Same as if we push M, there's no tasks here either. Okay, we can leave him here for now. So the first thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do some light scripting, but that's okay. So let's go ahead and create a new, and we'll save this, and we'll save it right in the root, and it will be called tests task.sqf. Now before we add any code in here, let's go back to our initiation. Remember, we have to call any scripts that we make in the initiation. So we're going to type _null equals exec VM, which is calling a script, tasks.sqf. We'll save that. Now we can begin our actual task code. So let's add a comment here and say tasks. And the first thing we're going to do is similar to what we did before initiation, which is create a switch, so that way we can have different tasks per side. So we're going to type switch side player do, open curly bracket. We'll add another comment here and say blue 4 side tasks. And under here we'll say case west, and that means that in this switch case, if you are on side west, which is blue 4, the following will happen in the open curly bracket. We'll create task_1 equals player create simple task, which will be creating our task, and we'll name it kill's fine for testing purposes at least. And then we'll say task_1 set simple description, and we will say kill the enemy. And we'll continue by saying find and eliminate the target. So this first line here will be sort of the title, and this will be the description. So our third line will be task1. We forgot to close off parenthesis there. There we go. So task1 set task state assigned, which will assign it as our current task. Task_1 set simple task destination, which will set where our task is set to. Get marker pos underscore task, parenthesis task_1. And what this line is saying is, for our task 1, we're going to set the destination, and we're going to get a marker position, which we haven't created yet, but we will, and that marker name will be task 1. And then finally, player set current task task_1. Close off this curly bracket and save. So what we've done with this last line here is, for all of the players on side west, their current task at the start of the game will be task 1. And to reiterate over everything, we've done a switch for players, and if they're on the side west, which is blue 4, we're going to create a task, and the task name will be kill the enemy. Find and eliminate the target is the description. The state of the task is assigned, and the destination, which we're about to create, will be on the marker position task_1. So before we continue this, let's just create that marker position. So what we're going to do is hit F6, go to markers, double tap right around our enemy location. We'll leave it at the empty default, and if you leave it at empty, that means that's sort of an invisible marker. And for the task name, or for the name of the marker, we're going to make it task_1. and we'll just leave it right here. Click Save. Let's go back to our coding real quick because we haven't finished our switch yet. So now we have tasks set up for Blue 4, but what if we want separate tasks if we wanted Op4 to have tasks? Say this is the 2v2 kind of mission, where you're going to have players both on Op4 and Blue 4. Well, it's pretty easy. Let's comment out Op4 tasks, Op4 side tasks, and we'll put case east, just like we did before. However, east is for Op4. Put an open curly bracket and a closed curly bracket because we don't have any tasks since we're not going to be controlling any Op4. And finally, we'll close off the initial curly bracket. Alright, let's just double check everything here. Simple task. Set simple description. That should be set simple task description. So make sure this is set simple task description. Closed off all our curly brackets. Okay. Let's go ahead and save that. Make sure it's in our folder. Sure enough it is. Go back to the editor. Move our guy behind the building so that way he doesn't get shot instantly. And save. Then we'll test it. Okay, so right off the bat we can see that we have our task location, so our marker's working. We have our task tab, find and eliminate the target, kill the enemy. So we might want to shorten this down since it goes past the boundaries, but it's working, that's the important thing. Alright, so right now our trigger is going off. However, we never set it up so that way when our trigger is set, the task is set to complete. So that's what we have to do next. So what we're going to have to do is we are going to have to go back to our trigger, which is all the way at our spawn. And we'll say hint, instead of he's dead, we'll type in task complete. And then we'll also say in the activation task_1 set task state succeeded. So what this will do is once the enemy's dead, it'll say task completed as a hint, and then we'll also set the task state of task 1 to succeeded. So let's go ahead and test that out. So right now we have our task. It's not completed yet. Of course, we have our hint that says task completed. And then when we check our tasks, there is a green check mark. So that means the task was completed. So that works perfectly. Alright, great. So this time around, we're going to set up our second task. And it will be to destroy a specific object. So let's put it at the same spot, I suppose. We'll say destroy this metal shed here. So what we're going to have to do is a few things, but it's not hard. The first thing is we're going to have to place a unit. But this time it'll be some game logic. Game logic has a lot of different useful things in it. You can set up a bunch of presets that are already in the game, or you can set up different virtual entities, like you can place Zeus down specifically for Blue 4 or Out 4 or whatever. But what we're going to use is an object and a game logic. So we're going to go ahead and put that right over here. And the next thing we're going to have to do is place down a trigger. And again, we'll set axis A and B to 0, 0, and activation on a blue 4. And right now we'll leave the condition and activation everything at default. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to turn on IDs with Control I. And there's a few different things here that we can choose to blow up. What is this? This is unknown. I guess we'll just try the metal shed and we'll see how that works. So I assume that it's 5262. It could be one of these as well, but we'll start with this one, see how that works. So go back into our game logic and we're going to type target 1 equals position this nearest object, and then it was 5 through, what was it? 5262. 5262. Okay. So what this is saying is our target 1, which we haven't set up yet, but we will, and its position is the nearest object of 5262, which is right here, and it's pretty close to there. So next we're going to go into our trigger, and under the condition we're simply going to type, similar to our last one, alive target 1. So now if target 1 is not alive, it will set up, we'll say right now a hint, it blew up. Okay. And then let's go ahead and set down some ammo, because we're going to need explosives. So we'll put down this explosives right here. Go ahead and put our enemy over here so he doesn't shoot us. And we'll see if that works. Satchel charge will do just fine. Where's that metal shed? Okay, here's the metal shed. Guess we'll just place our satchel here. Remember, we're invincible, so we really don't have to be that far away just for testing. Let's go ahead and blow it off. And then, of course, it worked. As we can see through our hint, it blew up. And that it did. It's pretty decimated. Okay. So now, let's go back to our tasks so we can set up an additional task. So let's say task _2 equals player create. You know what? Let's just go ahead and copy and paste this. That'll make it a lot faster, and we'll just change these to task 2. And this time we won't have a test destination. And we'll say destroy. And in here we'll say find and blow up the metal shed, so we know what we're talking about. And right here we'll say destroy shed. Okay. So right now we can't have 2 current tasks assigned, so we're just going to leave, although it is assigned, it's just not currently assigned. But that doesn't mean it's still not working. So we're not going to copy and paste this one. Let's go ahead and click save. Let's retest it, making sure that we have our tests. Okay, so now we have find and eliminate the target, kill the enemy, and destroy the shed. Find and blow up the metal shed. Great. Of course, we haven't linked them yet, so let's do that now. So we'll add task _2, and then we'll type set task state succeeded. Click OK. Save this, and let's test it. Grab another satchel. Make sure we have our tasks, which we do. Also, notice that there's no task destination because we decided not to have one. Place the satchel down. And let's blow it up. So as we can see, the hint says it blew up. We can also change that to task complete if we want, but I like it blew up. And the shed was successfully destroyed, as we can see here. Okay, great. So those are going to be our 2 tasks for this mission. Turn IDs off. Next, I think what we're going to have to do is get rid of this explosives because we don't want to put that right there. But more importantly, we're going to have to start setting up all of the bases. So next time, we're going to set up some enemy roadblocks, and we're going to start setting up enemy waypoints and more enemy activity that will cause a threat to us. So before that, let's go ahead and set our player back to the spawn, realign his group, and remove his invincibility. Of course, save. Alright, I'll see you guys next time.